Solana?
Um, yeah, Solana is an L1.
Algorand?
Algorand is an L1. Let me just see here.
And let's stick to the top 20.
Yeah. Avalanche is another one. Polkadot is another one that's in the top 20. Tron's been around a long time. They're running their own chains, right? But these things are they're altcoins. They're smaller, okay, and they have maybe different market drivers. So something like Avalanche wants to be really fast, and Avalanche gaming is what's kind of getting a lot of traction in the Avalanche world. The fees are low, the transactions are fast, and so game development is going pretty hard in the Avalanche.
Same with real world assets, because they can have their subnets and they can have their own rules.
Right.
And that's a big deal for real world assets, having their own rules, like a clawback feature.
Right.
And you can't have that on Bitcoin. No clawback.
There's no clawback on Bitcoin.
But you don't like Avalanche. You don't like the security.
So I personally think both Solana and Avalanche are undersecured networks. So I wouldn't want to hold a lot of asset on them because of the risk of losing the asset, right? It can either be stolen from you, or the Solana halts sometimes. Maybe you can't get it out when you need it,
Right.
right? It doesn't halt for very long lately, but we're also really early in the amount of transactions they want to process at the same time.
I wonder if that would stop as we see these ETFs start becoming more ETFs for other cryptos, if that would stop those from becoming their own ETFs because of those issues.
I think there's a certain level of risk in any coin going into the traditional world because of the reliability and the security of the chain. The assets that are there are, if you're talking about digital assets, say you've wrapped Bitcoin or ETH and put it onto AVAX. If it gets stolen, can you get it back? I don't know, right? It's questionable whether or not that kind of material, it's a digital asset.
Right.
And it disappears. Where is it? It's you when somebody comes to your house and they steal your money out from under your mattress and they run away, the cops can track them down. They might have spent the money already, but they could track them down. They stole the clock off your nightstand, and it's at their house. You can get it back. But if they stole your Bitcoin and they put it in their own Bitcoin wallet, they might just not give it back. They might go to jail and not give it back. They might say,
Right.
I'm not giving it back. And because there's no clawback, because there's no way for you to remove it from,
Or the courts to do it. That's important.
nobody can do it. You have to volunteer or you have to be engineered against. So if they can convince you to give up enough information, or they can seize your property that contains your seed phrase or something like that, then they can access it. But nobody's broken a Bitcoin wallet. They've socially engineered people out of wallet.
Like figuring out their seed phrase.
Like figuring out the seed phrase or cracking the password has never happened. Okay. But people have stored their seed phrase on the Google Drive.
Yeah, that couple that stole a whole bunch of Bitcoin, they stored it.
They made some serious mistakes, right? Which is good because they're criminals.
Right.
But the point being that if you played your cards right, nobody's getting it back from you. So you could be the criminal, you could do the time, and it would still be your money in the end. Right? So what's the answer? Well, in some ways it's blacklisting, right? They blacklist wallets and things like that now. So they're starting to be in the BTC is mining communities are doing the blacklisting for the government. So this will represent a way to prevent people from gaining from it, which hopefully would reduce the amount of crime. But people have defied governments and kept the money and won. The one that comes to my mind is a fella in Germany that was arrested, and I believe it was drug crimes that he was in trouble for. But he got sentenced to 4 or 5 years in jail. And one of the stipulations the government wanted was they wanted the profits he made from his illegal activities, but he had converted them to Bitcoin and they couldn't get his wallet open. And he told them to pound sand. And the prosecution tried to tell the court they wanted to keep him in jail after his sentence was over until he gave up the Bitcoin. and the court rejected the prosecution and said he served his time, he's free to go. And he left, and he very quickly left the country. And we're talking about, by the time he had spent his 4 or 5 years in jail, he had something like $40 to $50 million worth of Bitcoin. So they kind of like gave him a chance to wait out the market for the price to go up and start his new life over again. It's kind of a present, right? I mean, 5 years in prison doesn't sound like a present, but if it comes with $50 million, maybe it is. Right?
But though in the future, they could blacklist that wallet from the miners and he couldn't touch it.
Exactly.
Right. Bitcoin's not perfect, is it?
No, it's not. And it's not anonymous. People will seem to think that it's anonymous. Bitcoin is not anonymous. It's pseudonymous. That's different. That means if I can track you back, if I can tie you to a wallet, now I get to see all of your history in your wallet, the whole thing.
So he got away with it this time, but in the future.
Yeah. So yeah, the question is how we're going to solve problems like this to allow crypto to be mainstream. Crypto can't really be mainstream if the bully on the block can take it from you and you can't get it back, and nobody can help you, right? It kind of needs a little more the clawback. The government has to have some ability to render people whole from crime.
Oh, a lot of people are going to hate what you just said, who are purists in this industry. They're going to hate that.
But you can't get mainstream until you have this. Now, that doesn't mean that every crypto will be mainstream. It doesn't mean that every crypto will have clawback. And we have choices. So you want a secure crypto that you're going to hide money in or something, then maybe you want Monero, or maybe you want Secret, or maybe you want something else where privacy and anonymity are more important to the blockchain developers, right?